Right, we're back. Hi. How's everyone? Been a few days. Let's continue on with our story. We're technically playing the Gold Road DLC, but it stopped, and I don't know what it's waiting for me. I guess I could look it up, but I'm also really bad at looking stuff up, so we're just gonna continue on with the story, and then eventually we'll get a call. We'll continue on with that. Okay, looks like we're going here. I sort of forgot
Uncle,
what we were working on.
Are you all right? You look so pale. No wonder my brother wouldn't let me come by to visit.
Don't worry about me. I'll be back on my feet in no time. But what about you? Your brother said that neither of you had taken the curative yet.
Uncle, I'm not sure about these Malborn, and their curative sounds too good to be true, but don't worry about me. Just take care of yourself.
I see Arona has conscripted a new soldier into her private army.
I'm trying to help find her brother.
Is Dethisum missing? He was by yesterday for a visit. I know he had other stops to make. He did seem concerned about the Malborn, though. Sealing themselves in their quarantine, no longer providing the curative. It made him furious.
Is there anything we can do for you?
My niece's visit was more than enough. I feel better already. Besides, I've overcome worse ailments than a queasy stomach and a bad cough. I'll be fine.
Can I ask you a few more questions?
Well, a good conversation is like a hot bowl of guar liver soup. It soothes the aches that ail you. What did you want to ask?
Liver soup? Okay. Oh, okay. When did the Melbourne arrive in town?
Well, I think it was 12 mornings ago. The day the wild Nix got into the brooding elf's trash receptacles. Nostrum Breva had the quarantine up in a matter of days. Then she started distributing the curative.
What can you tell me about the plague?
They call it the Lodos Plague. Maybe Vivek knows where it came from, but I certainly don't. I can tell you that it's going to have to try harder if it really wants to kill me. Or turn me into some kind of monster, if you can believe the stories.
Are you really Arona's uncle?
I am a blood kin of House Redorum, if that's what you're asking. More a third cousin twice removed, if you want to be specific. But I've been close to Arona and her family since she and Dethisum were children.
All right, goodbye. Hope you feel better. Down this way.
By the three, this place smells terrible.
Rude. Oh. So sorry.
Oh, look at me. I'm a terrible mess. You really must excuse my dreadful appearance. I haven't been feeling very well lately. By the way, you haven't seen Nostrum Breva, have you? She promised to bring me more of the Malborn curative.
I'm afraid not. We're looking for Dithium. Have you seen him?
Dethisum. The town consul? Such a nice young man. Why, I do recall that he came to see me yesterday. He said he had other townsfolk to check on, but that he would bring me a curative as soon as he could.
What do you know about this Melbourne curative?
The curative? Remarkable stuff. Tastes awful, but wipes the plague right out of your system. One of those delightful Malborn gave me one a few days ago. Nostrum Breva, she called herself. But I think I need another dosage.
Can I ask you something else?
I may be ill and bedraggled, but I still have my manners. What would you like to know?
When did the plague first appear in the Cirque?
Oh, I couldn't say for sure. Perhaps the alchemist Naline would know. I can tell you that I started feeling ill a few days ago after I drank the Malborn curative. She said that would happen. You have to get ill to get better, the Malborn said.
Tell me more about the Melbourne.
Such a polite young woman, that Nostrum Breva. Claimed they were here to provide the help the tribunal refused to give. They have a curative for the plague, you know. Vile stuff, but the best medicine always tastes terrible, my mother always said.
All right, goodbye. Okay, we were there. Looks like we gotta go here.
Grell, are you in here?
What's going on with that lady right there?
I feel terrible.
What's wrong with you?
There are torch bugs in my eyes.
That sounds terrible. I'm here to help you.
The Malborn smell like Daedra.
Oh. They do they? Oh. I think he's dead. I can't talk to him.
Brave little scrape, do you know how to swim?
Oh. Oh boy. She's got like sores all over her poor face.
By the tribunal! Grell!
We're super close to them.
Poor Grell. What in Oblivion's name happened to him? Let's get out of here.
My wife's been helping out since she arrived. She's sick, but she still goes out of her way to lend a hand.
Alright.
The sicker people get, the more incoherent they become, and now it looks like the rumors are true. The Lotus Plague does turn people into monsters. I don't think we're ever gonna find my brother.
Maybe we should pay a visit to the Melbourne quarantine?
The quarantine? I guess it makes sense that Dethesum would want to go see what the Malborn are doing in there. And I've yet to see any evidence that the curative works. All right, if you want to go to the quarantine, I'll go with you.
Tell me more about this quarantine.
The Malborn set up the quarantine around the old graveyard. In the beginning, they were letting people inside and freely distributing the curative. But they closed the front gate a few days ago and haven't responded to any of our requests.
Any ideas how we can get in there?
Dethesum provided them with the old graveyard key when they first arrived, and I've seen Malborn coming and going through the back gate. If we go to the back gate, I'm sure we can get one of the Malborn to let us inside.
Okay. Sounds like a plan to me. Which direction are we supposed to go? The year 2920, Volume 2. The chimes proclaiming the South Wind's prayer echoed through the wide boulevards and gardens of the Imperial City, calling all to their temples. The Emperor Riemann III always attended a service of the Temple of the One, while his son and heir, Prince Julik, found it more political to attend a service at a different temple for each religious holiday. This year it was that the Cathedral Benevolence Amora. The Benevolence's services were mercifully short, but it was not until well after noon that the Emperor was able to return to the palace. By then the arena combatants were impatiently waiting for the start of the ceremony. The crowd was far less restless, as the potentate Versailles, oh my gosh, had arranged for a demonstration with a troupe of Kahiti acrobats. Kajiti? Kahiti? Kajiti? I don't know. Your religion is so much more convenient than mine, said the Emperor to his potentate. Potentate? Why do I even read these? I feel like I slaughter them. Anyway, by way of an apology, what is the first game? A one-on-one battle between the two able warriors, his scaly skin catching the sun as he rose, armed befitting their culture. Sounds good, said the Emperor, and he clapped his hand. Let the sport commence. And as soon as he saw the two warriors enter the arena to the roar of the crowd, Emperor Riemann III remembered that he had agreed to this several months before and forgotten about it. One combatant was the potentate's son, Saverian Korik, a glistening ivory yellow eel gripping his katana with his thin, deceptively weak-looking arms. The other was the Emperor's son, Prince Juliak, in ebony armor with a savage orcish helm, shield, and a longsword at his side. This is fascinating to watch, hissed the potentate, a wide grin across his narrow face. I don't know if I've even seen a Cyrodiil fight in Akaviri like this. Usually it's army against army. At least we can settle which philosophy is better. To create armor to combat swords as your people do, or to create swords to combat armor as mine do. No one in the crowd, aside from a few scattered Akaviri counselors and the potentate himself, wanted Severian to win. But there was a collective intake of breath at the sight of his graceful movements. His sword seemed to be part of him, a tail coming from his arms to match the one behind him. It was a trick of counterbalance, allowing the young serpent man to roll up into a circle and spin to the center of the ring in offensive position. The prince had to plod forward the less impressive traditional way. As they sprang at each other, the crowd bellowed with delight. The Akaviri was like a moon in orbit around the prince, effortlessly springing over his shoulder to attempt a blow from behind. But the prince whirled around quickly to block with his shield. His counter-strike met only air as his foe fell flat to the ground and slithered between his legs, tripping him. The prince fell to the ground with a resounding crash. Metal and air melted together as Severian rained strike after strike upon the prince, who blocked every one with his shield. We don't have shields in our culture, murmured Versiti to the Emperor. It seems strange to my boy, imagine. In our country, if you don't want to get hit, you move out of the way. When Severian was rearing back to begin another series of blinding attacks, the prince kicked at his tail, sending him falling back momentarily. In an instant he had rebounded, but the prince was also back on his 2 feet. The two circled one another until the snake man spun forward, katana extended. The prince saw his foe's plan and blocked the katana with his longsword, and the Wakashashi with his shield. Its short punching blade impaled itself in the middle, and Severian was thrown off balance. The prince's long blade slashed across his chest, and the sudden intense pain caused him to drop both his weapons. In a moment, it was over. Severian was prostrate in the dust with the prince's longsword at his throat. The game's over, shouted the Emperor, barely heard over the applause from the stadium. The prince grinned and helped Severian up and over to a healer. The Emperor clapped his potentate on his back, feeling relieved. He had not realized when the fight had begun how little chance he had given his son at victory. He will make a fine warrior and a great emperor. Just remember, laughed the Emperor, you Akaviri have a lot of showy moves, but if just one of our strikes comes through, it's all over for you. Oh, I'll remember that, he nodded. Riemann thought about that comment for the rest of the games and had trouble fully enjoying himself. Could the potentate be another enemy, just as the Emperor had turned out to be? That matter would bear watching.
This damn plague. I need help, but I don't trust these Morborn cultists. Who are they? Where did they come from? Why haven't we heard about them before?
Soon the Morborn will give us...
Goodbye. Sorry.
Another chance at perfection.
Look, it's just like I told you. The Malborn are using the back gate. Let's see if one of them has the key. Hey! What are you idiots doing? Do we look like plague husks to you? Did you see that? They attacked us. And for no good reason. Let's find the key and see what the Malborn are hiding in there.
Alright, I know it's all important and stuff, but I saw I had to get that, and I got it. Time sensitive and all.
Feeling hostility.
Look over there. That's one of the Malborn. One of the husks must have gotten him.
Sense the thing? You were lucky last time. How many times do I have to remind you? If you're going to work with the plague husk, you need to wear the husk scent. I know it smells terrible, but that's the point. It makes you smell just like the plague husk. That's the only way to safely move along the vile creatures. Remember what happened to Keeney? She refused to apply the husk scent too, complained that it got in her hair and wouldn't come out no matter how many times she washed it. Well, what did her vanity get her? A plague husk ate her face. Do you want that to happen to you? I certainly don't. Now get your together and remember to apply the husk scent. I don't want to have to tell you again. That's just another way of getting your shit together. Hello?
You have to open them. What are they up to in there? And why won't they let me get a look at their curative? Oh, sorry. I didn't see you standing there through the haze of my indignation. Can I help you? No, wait. You can help me.
How can I help you?
I'm the town alchemist, and I want to get a sample of the Malborn curative. They refused to give me any. Proprietary formula, they said. Well, I want to figure out what's in this miracle elixir. I don't trust anything labeled proprietary.
You want me to get you the curative?
Do you always skip ahead in the story? No one has an iota of patience anymore. But yes, I need a few bottles of the curative. I'm sure you'll be able to find some inside the quarantine. Then we'll see what's in this proprietary formula.
Very well, I'll try to get you a few bottles of the curative.
Just watch your step in there. I don't trust these Malborn or their good intentions.
Can I ask you a few questions?
As long as you promise to collect the curatives as soon as we're done, ask away.
What do you know about the Malborn?
Not much. They say they're here to help, but they certainly don't act like any charitable caregivers I ever met. I don't trust them. Which is why I want to find out what's in the curative they're pushing on the populace.
Tell me about the Malborn curative.
There's not much to tell. They claim the elixir is a cure for the Lodos plague, but I haven't seen anyone recover from the illness yet. But I could tell you more once you get me a few samples of the curative to examine.
What do you do in town?
I'm an alchemist. I took over for Arcanist when he retired. I also have a bit of training as a healer. Before the Moorborn arrived, I was the one the townsfolk came to see when they got sick.
Alright, well, we'll see what I can do. Making the noises, jeez.
By the three, this place chills me to the bones. Let's see if we can find my brother and then get out of here.
Don't come any closer. I don't want you to get the plague.
What are you doing in here?
I'm waiting for my next dosage of curative. 1 or 2 more doses, and I expect to be back on my feet in no time.
I'm pretty sure they're turning you into a monster. I'm very sorry to tell you. The curse of the afflicted began arriving almost immediately after the quarantine was set up. I don't know how we spread the word so quickly, but people seem to be coming from all over the region for the promised cure. I now have the opportunity to observe the afflicted through all stages of the Lotus Plague. It begins with a mild fever and random bodily aches and pains. Oddly afflicted suffering this stage of the plague have a terrible hunger that cannot seem to be satisfied. This stage of the plague lasts anywhere from 3 to 7 days. The second stage of the plague is marked by a high fever, overall weakness, and the appearance of open sores upon the body. Pain grips the afflicted, making most normal activities impossible to perform. During this stage of the plague, the afflicted appetite disappears, and it is a struggle to make them eat and drink sufficient amounts of food and water to maintain their body weight. This stage of the plague can range from 7 to 14 days. If the afflicted doesn't throw off the plague during this period, chances of survival drop to almost 0. The third stage of the plague marks the beginning of the end for the afflicted. The open sores now cover most of the afflicted's body, which burns with such heat that the afflicted becomes delirious and subject to hallucinations. The afflicted refuses to eat or drink, and any kind of movement results in agony. This stage of the plague is relatively short, lasting from 1 day to extreme cases, as long as 5 days for those unfortunate enough to hang on. The final stage of the plague is perhaps the most fascinating. Of course, many of the afflicted simply die when the plague has run its course, and the death is extremely painful and heartbreaking to watch. But an increasing number of afflicted don't find a natural end. These unfortunates transform into seemingly undead creatures that the common folk call plague husks. These creatures appear to be mindless engines of violence, intent on destroying all life they encounter. Can you imagine an army of such creatures? Priceless. And the crates of accelerant have arrived. Now we can increase the pace of the affliction. Time to treat my patients. Evil. The game stopped responding to my commands. That was disturbing.
I never really liked this.
Wait, actually,
I never really liked this place when it was just a crypt. But between the quarantine and the plague husks, it's gotten so much worse. Let's get moving. The sooner we figure out what's going on and find my brother, the sooner we can get out of here.
I found a note. It mentioned something about plague husk scent.
Plague husk scent? What in the name of the three would anyone want with the plague husk scent?
The note implied it protected the Melbourne from the plague husk.
I guess if you need to get close to them, that makes a certain amount of sense. Maybe we should try to find some of that. If it means that we don't have to kill any more husks, that could be a good thing. They were people once. Maybe they can be again.
I plan on killing everything. Useless. Absolutely useless. The curative isn't going to meet our mistress's demanding standards of it. It simply kills the person who ingests it. If we were trying to create a new poison, then it would be wildly successful. But that isn't the task at hand. Reduce the amount of dried corpse blood and try again. And watch the temperature in those cauldrons. One of them was dangerously close to boiling over. And I, for one, have no desire to be drenched in a spray of boiling curative. Who's the mistress? Apparently, I'm easily distracted today.
Twitching tentacles.
This batch of the curative was so close to perfect, unfortunately, it was a tad too effective. The afflicted turned into violent husks far more quickly than we had hoped for at this point in the process. Perhaps this particular mixture will be useful later when we need a quick influx of undead soldiers, but for now this batch won't suffice. An interesting side effect of this version of the curative concerns the level of aggressiveness demonstrated by the newly created husks. They turn immediately violent and consider everything that moves to be an enemy, or food. These husks also demonstrated a total disregard for the husk scent we apply when working in close proximity to them. They attacked our workers as soon as they saw them, indicating that the scent no longer masks us from husks created with this version of the curative. Let's increase the cooking time by 1 hour and decrease the amount of wolf bile by 25%.
Tethisa, my brother, what happened to you? By the three, I fear the plague consumes you, brother.
Verona, what are you doing here? It's not safe.
The Maulborn attacked us, and the afflicted are turning into plague husks. Oh, Tethisa, this is dreadful.
The Maulborn are spreading the plague. For some reason, they want everyone to become afflicted. They're not healers. They're monsters.
I can't. There we go.
The Lodos plague. I have no idea why. But it's clear to me that the Maulborn curative is actually the source of the disease. Whatever they're planning, you have to stop them.
You need a healer.
That's not important. Get my sister out of here and stop the Maulborn. Destroy the so-called curative and put an end to that mad woman, Nostrum Breva.
I don't think Ariana, or Era, whatever her name is, I don't think your sister will leave her side.
Then convince her. I'm too far gone. I don't want to become one of those things and hurt my sister. Besides, she's a Redoran. She has a duty to the Cirque and its people.
All right, I'll talk to her.
I knew you'd understand. Convince her to leave without me. I don't want her to see what happens next. I acquired some of the Molborn poison. A death of my choosing is better than turning into a monster.
Okay.
Is my brother ready? I need to get him out of here.
He decided to stay here.
That's ridiculous. Why in the world would he want to stay in this dreadful place? I won't hear another word. He's coming with me, and we're going to make him better. He's not gonna die. He's not.
He doesn't want to take the chance of hurting anyone. You need to honor his wishes.
Stop making sense, damn you. And damn him. And damn the Molborn. All right. Just give me a moment to say goodbye. Don't do this to Thesum. The Cirque needs you. I need you.
Oh, little sister. The Cirque will be fine. And so will you.
Damn you, brother. I'm going to miss you. But I'll do as you ask. And you, meet me outside after you've dealt with these Molborn bastards.
Finally perfection. The latest batch of the
Thank you for letting me end this my way. Verona will be fine. Now, let me do this before I turn into a damn monster.
Okay, finally. Okay. Oh, sorry. We'll take a moment for his death. Okay. Finally perfection. The latest batch of curative starts the affliction, progresses the plague at a reasonable rate of speed, and then turns the afflicted into plague husks 70% of the time. Now we have a superior version of the plague and an effective way to dispense it. Of course, handing out curatives can be a slow process, especially in the larger towns and cities. Before we begin operations in Mournhold, we'll need a faster way to disperse the plague. But that's not my task at this moment. Besides, I'm sure that Alchemist is tackling this problem even as I write these notes. I should also record that I perfected the husk scent. We can once again walk among the husks without fear of being attacked. I might even have an idea about a soap to remove the scent after we're finished. We'll begin making larger batches of the curative immediately. In no time at all, we should be able to give everyone at the Cirque and immediate vicinity a dosage of the curative. Don't worry, my mistress. Everything will happen just as you have foreseen.
All right, we're done. Pack everything up. We need to regroup with the other Molborn cadres and deliver this plague to the rest of Deshan.
Discarded cask. A substance reminiscent of the boat is in this one.
Don't dally. We have a schedule to keep. You can't stop the Molborn, you fool. We are the cleansing fire that burns across Morrowind.
I
The Malborn Manifesto. Our land is troubled, disease, invaders, and internal strife are the only most obvious problems facing our people. Each of these troubles strikes like a hammer blow, crushing us anew. But we have survived the hammer blows, and we have been reborn. We are the Morrowind. We have banded together with the altruistic spirit and the vision for a better Morrowind to provide the aid and assistance with that the Tribunal is either unable or unwilling to give at this time. With powerful benefactors from the most prominent Dunmar houses and the support of nobles and commoners alike, the Malborn strive to shelter the displaced, comfort the sick, care for the wounded, and feed the hungry. It is not only the popular thing to do, it is the right thing to do. To this end, the Malborn have embarked on a massive recruitment campaign to fill our ranks with the able bodies we need to perform our charitable and compassionate work. Our goal is to create an army the likes of which Morrowind has never seen, an army of generosity to offset the hammer strikes that torment our land. To this end, we are proud to announce the opening of our first facility to aid the afflicted. The victims of the Lotus Plague need care and succor, and the Malborn shall provide it. Moreover, the afflicted need not only a treatment for the plague, they need a cure. And through the work of our alchemists and nostrums, the Malborn are prepared to provide a cure to all the afflicted who want it. Come to our facility in the quarantine, where you and your loved ones will find the care and the help you so desperately require. And if fortune smiles upon us, you will also receive a cure for the plague. People of Morrowind listen to the sound of the new kind of hammer. It strikes to create instead of destroy, to rise up instead of tear down, to help instead of hinder. This is the promise and the commitment of the Malborn. Join us and you shall be fulfilled. Seek us out and you shall find the help you need. On this you have our word. We've continued to experiment with new strains of the plague, and your work at Circamora has proved invaluable. The magistrate is quite pleased. The Cirque has been a good testing ground. Weak and sickly individuals who arrive, some already infected with the previous strains, beg for a cure. We are more than delighted to welcome them in, giving them false promises of cleansing their illnesses. Even the houses of Redoran and Hlon are convinced we are here to help. They so want to believe. As for the plague itself, it has become quite potent. Unfortunately, survival rates remain shorter than we had hoped. If we want to cause a true outbreak, one that would level an entire city, we must continue to strengthen the magic and test it. The next step will be to raise the level of experimentation. Word has already come that one of our Hedros may have developed the purest form of the sickness yet. I'm eager for the arrival of these shipments. A larger town will suffice for the next experiment. I recommend Narcissus, and the lawn fools will never suspect a thing. I need to get in touch with my contacts there to let them know to be ready. Against false gods, fear not the false gods, for their very presence is a lie. Abducted power ripped from artifacts undeserving. Worship received from mindless cattle doing what they're told. You bow to them not out of reverence, not out of respect. You bow to them out of fear, out of the unknown truths left untold. But why? Because it is right? Because it is what is expected of you? The people of this land bathe in the filth of corruption and deceit, a filth of their own making. We will make them the cure, all the blind and tainted. We will show them that their gods are not as powerful as they believe. The Malborn will rise to purify this land in a true image of the princess, to cleanse the soil of all falsehoods. May the three feel our wrath. May the three be cleansed of their lies, for the Malborn shall bring forth a reckoning. Okay. Okally dokally.
Someday you'll make something surprising with that.
Were you able to acquire any samples of the Malborn curative? I'm really curious to see what the elixir is made of.
Here you go, but I'm pretty sure this elixir won't cure anything.
I've been watching the townsfolk who received the curative and came to the same conclusion. But I'll be able to tell for sure after I analyze the elixir. Take this. It isn't much, but I'm sure you didn't have too much trouble in there. Thanks for your help. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some alchemical wizardry to perform.
pretty boring. Sorry. Sorry. I know it's talking about the saints, which I guess is probably important information.
Have any beds become available? My lord is terribly ill and needs to rest.
The situation is the same as it was the last time you inquired. You're welcome to...
And tranquility.
Wait, was that the one lady that was hanging? That was, oh no, she's right there. I was like, oh no, is that one lady? There we go. That anchor, I feel like, has been on for a long time. Real quick, before we go and see her, showing me that there is books, that there is lore to be read. Oh, there is. The Judgment of Saint Veloth. A number of powerful healing relies on associated with Saint Veloth of the Pilgrim. Of these, perhaps the most famous and well-remembered artifact remains the Judgment of Saint Veloth. This mighty Daedric warhammer stands as a shining symbol of everything Veloth embodies as the patron saint of outcasts and seekers of spiritual knowledge. Stored with other holy artifacts in the protected vaults of the Tribunal Temple, the Judgment of Saint Veloth served the prophet and the mystic well in life, but has gained legendary power since his ascension to sainthood. The god-kings of Morrowind watch over the relics, keeping them ready for the day when their powers would be needed in defense of the realm. Saint Veloth personifies daring, and those who value the lessons of his life and teachings learn boldness and cultivate an adventurous outlook. He defined the difference between good and evil Daedra, and even negotiated the original arrangements with the good Daedric princes. This ability to distinguish the good from the bad was a hallmark of the living saint, as was his perchance for healing and healing items. Both of these aspects combined into his personal symbol of power, the warhammer known as Judgment. Veloth's judgment rang with authority throughout the land, using its enchantments to clean the corruption from the souls of those it struck down. It was a weapon, of that there can be of no doubt, but Veloth was able to wield it with the same precision that a surgeon uses to wield a scalpel, removing the corruption from a soul and leaving the remainder alive and healthy. The warhammer stored the corruption for a time, turning it into energy that could be used by the welder to enhance the power of the weapon. Of course, in the wrong hand, such a powerful artifact can accomplish more harm than good. For this reason, among many others, the tribunal keeps the judgment and other artifacts locked away. It has been suggested that instead of being used as an instrument of healing, the judgment can be used to siphon a living creature's entire soul, thus making the wielder infinitely more powerful. This conjecture has never been put into practice, and if the tribunal has its way, it never will.
Good find, cohort.
I'm supposed to be over here.
Where did you go to get those ingredients? Windhelm? No matter. You're here now. Were you able to acquire everything on my list?
I think so. Here's what you asked for.
Healing herbs, dragon scale mushrooms, sour milk tea. Yes, it's all here. I need to stay here and monitor my patient's condition. Go over to the alchemy table and mix those ingredients together, please.
How do you know I'm even an alchemist? Okay, what? Lion's heart. Sour milk and mushrooms. I should take the completed potion to bring to her.
You did it? Well done. I never doubted you for an instant.
Here's the
now,
potion.
Let me have the mixture, if you please.
Here, take it.
This appears to be perfect. I truly am impressed. Now we'll see what happens and leave the rest in the tribunal's hands.
Bye.
Our friend has done well. I'm not sure this will cure the plague, but it should at least slow down its progress. All right, that's it. Visiting time is over. Everyone out and let my patient rest.
Okay. Jeez.
I don't know how to thank you. Without your help, the Molborn would have destroyed the Cirque.
We did everything we could, and Niln seems to know what she's doing.
I know. His fate is in the Three's hands now, but he certainly has a fighting chance thanks to you. Here, take this. There's no way I can truly repay you for what you've done for the Cirque, but it's a start.
I'm happy to say that the suppressant works. It's not a cure, but it should buy me the time I need to find a way to beat the plague.
That's wonderful news. If I wasn't worried about spreading the plague, I'd kiss you right on the lips.
You come from?
So the Molborn lied to everyone. I figured as much. This doesn't bode well for Narcissus, though.
Something wrong?
Narcissus sent me to investigate Quarantine Cirque. Now that I know a mad cult is poisoning our people, I'm even more concerned.
The Molborn are a menace.
The Molborn are a menace.
There are more of these Molborn?
They're appearing all across Deshan. Even Narcissus is in danger. I need to stay here and finish my investigation. Narcissus, she needs to know what happened here.
I can do that.